All right, you're listening to On Deck, presented by Amazing Met Zone. I'm your boy, Phil from Shirley, with my boy. You might have seen him recently on Kill Tony. He's been putting out a lot of videos all over the internet. Silvio D'Onofrio.
What's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate you not calling me Andrew Parker. That's the
And
so.
we got Silvio here. We want to talk about our top five favorite comedians of all time. I'm going to start it off with my number five, and that's Stravos Hakiakis. I don't
We know
fucking
you're
name
talking.
all the time.
All right.
I know people are going to get at me. I got putting a guy in my top five that I can't even say his fucking last name,
I can call
but
you.
I love the guy. A fellow fat guy. I think he's amazing with the crowd. He's moving up my list. It's crazy to put a new guy like we were talking about before
Yeah.
on my list like this right away, but I love him. I got to have at least one fat guy on there. So Stravos, my number five.
But this is a top five of all time for us, right?
Yeah, your top five.
Uh,
You could put a new guy in there if you're feeling it.
All right. This is I might get some slack for this, but um I'm gonna put Ari Spears up there. Very underrated. A lot of people don't know his stuff, but I'm a big I really like him. I'd put him five. He
Oh,
just him. He
I
just
love Ari. I feel
yeah,
like
great.
very underrated. His impressions,
Yeah,
bro. His
amazing.
impressions are up there like all time.
Yeah. I just saw a thing with him where he was like critiquing other comedians who do like he was like, oh, Jay Farrow's great, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and they played Jay Farrow doing Jay Z, and then he did Jay Z, and it was like, wow, I thought Jay Farrow sounded like Jay Z, but now I'm looking at it like he don't sound nothing like him compared to like. So yeah, I'm definitely putting him up there.
Love that. Love that. Moving to my number four right now. I got to have this guy on my list, and that's Chris Rock. I feel like at one point, Chris Rock was probably like the funniest guy, you know what I mean, in America for at least like 3 or 4 years. He was killing it. Everything he did was just
Yeah.
amazing. I got to have Chris Rock on my list. My number four, Chris
All
Rock.
right. I'm gonna be honest. Chris Rock is. I'm not gonna give my list away, but he's on my list extremely high.
Yeah.
For me, my number four, I'm gonna go with Eddie Murphy.
Love it.
Yeah, I wish he had more specials, but the two specials he put out were so fucking good that he's on the list.
No, I love it. I love it. I feel like if we were talking to a lot of these comedians and we asked them their top five, everybody's got Eddie Murphy on their
Yeah,
list.
yeah,
Moving to my number three, it's a guy who I didn't really grow up listening to, a lot older, but I feel like over the past 10 years, 15 years, I've watched so many videos on this guy on YouTube, and that's George Carlin. I feel like he kind of speaks to what he was saying so long ago is now even going on today. All his stuff still hits. It's still
yeah,
it's still relevant. Just amazing. You know what I mean? He's got to
yeah.
be on my list. My number three, George Carlin.
All right, I respect it. For me, my number three. This is a little could be controversial, but
That's what we got. That's what we got Silvio here, the tracksuit kid.
I'm actually gonna put Shane Gillis up there. I don't want to put two guys, but dude, everything dude touches is gold. And like I don't know, man. Like this is the way I look at it. Like, I mean, I think he's hilarious, and like the reason I like him so much is I feel like I'm just sitting in the room with him talking. That for me, that's what makes it better. And like my wife doesn't laugh at anything, literally nothing. Like to her, I'm just like not funny in the slightest.
Well, she's living with you all day, so it's hard to let you know what I mean.
But even like other comedians, I've showed her, and she's like, they're not funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I took her when we were in LA. We went to see Shane Gillis, and she was like crying at one point. So I'm like, all right, but I'm moving him up, man. He's big for me.
I love it. Not, I love it, dude. Right now, he's in my top 10, and I feel like he's moving up the list. You know what I mean? I love it. Love it. Moving it to my number two, it's a guy who's probably like the most racist comedian I think I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know why. I just love him so much. And that's Paul Mooney. I feel like Paul Mooney is so underrated. He's just so
I didn't
good.
think he'd be there.
Bro, every time I listen to Paul Mooney, I cry laughing. He like really tests like the boundaries too with people. Sometimes I can see
Yeah,
you can see people being uncomfortable with it. And I just fucking love it. He's probably one of my favorites. All the stuff that he's done with Chappelle too on Chappelle's show,
mm-hmm.
he was just amazing. But like I said, his stand up, it's so good. Paul Mooney, my number two.
For my number two, I hate to use your list at this point. So for my number two, this is a tough one because one of them's not even making the top five, and it was taking me a while to decide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put George Carlin as my number two.
Okay.
but I did teeter totter with Dave Chappelle. The only reason I'm not putting him there is because his last special to me was just very rantish, no jokes.
Yep.
Special before that, it was okay, but it tiptoed rantish. The two before that were a lot better.
Yep.
But it's like one of those things. Like you start putting out trash, it diminishes what you used to do to me. So
See, and that's perfect to branch right into it because my number one is Dave Chappelle. I
oh
still
my
love
God.
Chappelle, even though, like you're saying, though, I agree with you. His last special was brutal,
Yeah.
and he's had a couple things out there where some of these other guys I mentioned, they've had nothing but hits. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Chappelle has had a couple of bad ones, but I just feel like Chappelle
I
on that run,
for everything.
Chappelle show. You know what I mean? All his like stand up in that time before he went crazy and left. You know what I mean? He was just the best. He's my guy. He speaks to me. I just feel like I love Chappelle. Chappelle's my number one.
So my number one, and it's been this since like the reason I wanted to do comedy, everything, since like literally the sixth grade. It's Chris Rock. I'm a huge Chris Rock dude. His last special sucked, but I mean, I went to his special before that. It was at MSG and it was great. It was only in like the theater, but it was really good. But the last one I was very disappointed in. But I got a soft spot for him. It's like for me, it's like there'll never be a better catcher than Mike Piazza for me. I don't care what it is.
I agree, bro. Now you speak.
And I'm sure there's guys better.
No.
In my heart, it's always going to be Mike Piazza.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah. And Chris Rock, you're on point with that. I mean, for that time when Chris Rock was hot, I don't think there was anybody better,
He was great. I actually used to listen to, I mean, there were CDs at the time, but I remember I burned like his whole set.
Yep.
On my and I would listen to it. Like that's how much I liked Chris Rock when I was younger. But there's a lot of guys like now that I'm doing the top five that like recently I just got into big. Like I would say the past month I've been like a huge Jim Norton guy, like huge on Jim Norton, and I just realized like how underrated he is. I mean, I wasn't going to toss him in my top five and do anything crazy, but I'm like, he was like a lot of stuff he has been like, at least that I've been listening to recently, was like hit.
Yeah.
There's a ton of guys right now who I think are.
Oh, there's so many guys high right now, and then even guys. Like, I kept a couple guys, like I kept Artie Lang out of my top five just because Artie Lang. I'm a huge Artie Lang guy. I mean, I'm pretty much like the like the PG version of Artie Lang. You know what I mean?
Also like a Ralphie May I even like too, who's like
100%
sleeper. Like he doesn't get brought up a lot, but like some of
he's great. Great.
Because I feel like, I mean, it's pretty much with everything, like singers, things like that. But you look at someone like, and I'm only saying this because someone just said this to me. I'm doing a show like this weekend, and someone had asked the guy who's like headlining the show for tickets, and he's like, "Yeah, we're doing a big show Saturday." He's like, "Oh, I can't go. I'm going to see Dane Cook." And you look like when we were in high school, Dane Cook was like the hottest comedian out. Yeah. And like when this guy said he was going there, in my head, I'm like, wow, bro, really?
You want to see fucking Dane Cook?
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, Cook. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, man, he's just a comedy guy. But
I love it.
I think there's a lot of guys who used to be like, you remember when Carlos Mencia was like a big deal?
Crazy.
Ghost now. I don't even know if he's
I know.
So,
hey, everybody out there watching too, make sure you go follow Silvio.
Oh yeah, that
make sure you're watching all Silvio's stuff. I mean, Silvio's killing it right now. He was just on Kill Tony. So go check that out. And Silvio, thank you so much for doing this. And we'll definitely have you back.
Thanks for having me, man.
This takes so long to fucking hit.